All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Monday, April 7th. We have an 11-game MLB slate to dive into in today's video like we always do. I'm going to dive into each and every one of these games. I'm going to give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. We'll talk about any other plays like player props that we like within the game as well. But as always, guys, keep an eye down on the pinned comment of this video. That'll take you to all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself. If that does interest you, absolutely free down in the pinned comment. All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. I tell you guys I'm a dummy all the time. They don't suck. They've just been sucking. Get them down to -3, 4 more juice than Jose Canseco in his prime. Tell me you're new without telling me you're new. So don't go jumping down my throat in the comments, right? If you want to fade me, or if you do want to ride me, this still leaves a bad taste in my mouth, right? And remember, more chins, more wins. In terms of how we made out yesterday, yet another positive night in the MLB. I'm going to be kicking myself if we ever go through a cold streak this season, which is bound to happen, for how hot we started the season, but making the pact with ourselves that we'll start conservative with 0.25 unit plays. You know what I mean? Because we are off to a roaring start, but nonetheless, it is what it is. We had Yenier Diaz yesterday. That cashes. Ernie Clement cashes. Then Padres team total for plus money. That cashes as well. Only loss being Mariners, Giants, Nerfy. Rodriguez sends one over the wall, and it was like, there goes the Nerfy, right? Pablo Reyes does not get the start, but when he was taken out of the starting lineup, kind of got excited. And what I mean by that is, so when a guy's in the starting lineup and you can place, you can place a play on him, like we had under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, the worst that happens is, not the worst, I guess it is technically one of the worst case situations, but he doesn't play and it voids, right? It pushes because he didn't get a plate appearance. The best case scenario would be he gets up for like a pinch hitting situation, only has one at bat, gets out, and that plate appearance means he played in the game and you can catch it. So I get kind of excited when those things happen. Didn't happen yesterday. He didn't get in, so all that is 4-0. But again, 3-1 in one night. We shall take it there. I guess the worst case scenario would be if your guy gets in for one plate appearance and like hits a home run, and it's like, that was supposed to be a voided play, right? But nonetheless, let's go ahead and dive into today's slate. Guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Keep dropping your plays down in the comments. I'm reading a lot of them. And like I keep saying, I know it's probably like a broken record, but I keep seeing plays and I'm like, damn, that is some good analysis. That is a great look and that type of stuff. Might have to start tailing some more of you guys down in the comments. But let's jump into game number 1 here. We have Detroit taking on New York. Mize on the mound for Detroit, going up against Carlos Rodon for this Yankee squad. Mize, no home starts this season. Rodon, no away starts this season, though they do have two decent starts under their belts. Casey Mize looked decent against both Seattle and Kansas City. Rodon looked really good against, who did he pitch in their first matchup? Milwaukee, right? Yeah, Milwaukee on opening day. And then he goes up against Arizona in his next start, and he didn't look as good, but it's Arizona, and that's a very, very good offense. So I'm willing to give him a little bit of leeway there, right? In terms of their numbers against this squad, Mize really doesn't have much to go off of, but Rodon has some decent numbers, some poor numbers against this Tigers roster. 55 plate appearances against, so mid to low sample size here. 31% K rate, 0% walk rate. That's really good. But an average against of 333, expected slugging against of 423, expected WOBA against of 298. So again, kind of a mixed bag in terms of what we've seen there. His recent starts against this Detroit team, now we're dating back a couple seasons, really not all that great. Last year, 3 1/3, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk. Again, 3 1/3. 4 earned runs. The time before that, 3 2/3, 8 hits, 7 earned runs, 4 strikeouts, 0 walks. So he's gotten shelled by them a couple times in a row. That being said, I don't know if that's going to matter all that much. First and foremost, I'm going to lean towards the over in this game, just due to the fact that we've seen Detroit's offense looking decent, right? I know a lot of people are high on their offense based on what we've seen so far this season. I'm still waiting for a little bit more, I guess, evidence to say that. We know, even just with the names in the lineup, that this Yankees offense will be good, and I don't think either one of these guys is going to be a phenomenal put-away type of a pitcher. So yes, to me, I mean, I think Casey Mize's K rate this season against righties so far is like below 10%. So that's going to be tough when you're facing, someone like Aaron Judge or even Paul Goldschmidt who needs to turn things around and that type of thing. So I do think that we're going to see guys on base and some runs come home. So I'm going to lean towards the over first and foremost. But I guess in an over type of a game, that probably ends up feeding towards the Yankees, right? Like they're the team that most likely can win this one. So I'll lean towards them as well. Right now, minus 158 seems a little bit too juicy. They did just take 2 of 3 on the road against Pittsburgh, so I guess I'll give them credit. But in terms of rolling with them on the money line, I will say the fact that we have that, I guess you could call it issue with Rodon against the Tigers kind of worries me. And this is the Tigers bullpen that has the number 1 whip to start the season, and again, small-ish sample size, but still, in my opinion, totally worth noting. And their bullpen should be fairly fresh. A couple guys going yesterday. So yeah, I'll take the Yankees as well as the over. The Yankees money line kind of concerns me a little bit here. In terms of what we have from player prop, oh, by the way, there's like 20-mile-an-hour winds blowing out to center field today too, so that kind of helps the over. In terms of what we have from a player prop perspective, nothing specific here, but just based on the splits of righties, really, Casey Mize having a tough time getting righties out. I don't mind taking a peek at some hits, runs, and RBIs for guys like Goldschmidt or Judge or even Volpe, that type of thing. So those are light looks that we really haven't fully dug into yet, but probably the spot that I would consider overall. Next up, Pittsburgh taking on St. Louis. We see Pittsburgh coming out of that series against the Yankees. They are remaining at home now, but they lose that series 2-1. St. Louis, they got swept in 4 games there by the Red Sox. Now, I think we're starting to see that this Red Sox offense just has some absolute pop in it, and that's not me as a biased Red Sox fan. I think we're just starting to learn that might just be a fact, because this St. Louis offense has started to kind of prove me wrong a decent amount. We have Matthew Liberatore on the mound for St. Louis. We haven't seen him on the road yet. And then Carmen Mlodzinski on the road for at home for Pittsburgh. We haven't seen yet either. But this is a St. Louis offense that has the number 1 average against right-handed pitchers as of right now. The number 4 WRC plus, K rate in the top 3, on base percentage 4, OPS 5, ISO 10, slugging at 5th. And we're going to get a decent amount of fastballs and sliders from Mlodzinski. St. Louis hits both of those really, really well. In fact, in our dashboard, take a peek at this. This is their projected lineup today, right? Look at all of that green. Only Contreras being the guy that doesn't hit righties all that well. And then how about this against left-handed pitchers on the Pittsburgh side of things? All that red. I'll show you guys how to get access to this dashboard right after this game, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, fastball, number 2 in terms of runs above average. All of this looking really good. And even on the road so far this year, though smallish sample size, looks pretty good as well. So I'm going to take a peek here at St. Louis. Overall, I think that their offense is going to be the thing that kind of pulls through for them in this one. And yeah, you don't go and lose 4 games in a row and then sit there being like, all right, time to bounce back. Or you don't think, not time to bounce back, right? Like they are sitting there being like, we have to get a win on the board. And I don't really believe in this Pittsburgh offense. Now, I'm not sitting here trying to blow smoke up your you-know-what and say that I love, Matthew Liberatore and that type of thing. Whatsoever. His so far this season really hasn't looked all that great either. I think he has the 1 start, and it was against the Angels, kind of got kicked around, you know what I mean? But against Pittsburgh's offense, this Pittsburgh's offense doesn't scare me whatsoever, and he does have some decent numbers. I guess 51 plate appearances against the current guys on the roster, 22% K rate, 8% walk rate, not terrible, but not, great either. Expected batting average against, though, at 220. Expected WOBA below 300 at 297. Expected slugging 368. So not all that bad either. I expect him to perform decent enough today that this offense can kind of get going. So that's how I'm looking at it. Give me the Cards on the money line here. Maybe Cardinals on the first 5 if you really want to, because I don't really trust their bullpen, but it's not like I'm sitting here saying that this Pittsburgh bullpen is any better, you know what I mean? So maybe this is a case where we're like, hey, the more innings we have, potentially the better. And I know that bullpen for both teams is very taxed. So if we have a taxed bullpen coming from both sides, maybe we just want the better offense, you know what I mean? So I'm going to go St. Louis on the money line in this spot. I do think that they bounce back after a yikes series against Boston. But I will say, even their offense looked okay in that series. Boston's just looked way better. So, yeah, give me St. Louis, and I guess a team total over might be how I play this one as well. In fact, the number you can get there would be, let's see what their 3.5 is, minus 150. They've hit that in every game this season. I could see a Cardinals team total over as well as a Cardinals money line play for me today. Probably a quarter unit each, still staying relatively conservative, but I think both of those could be in play. And then in this one, no player props really that jumped out to me whatsoever. Tommy Pham under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs was the only thing that looked good in terms of his trends and his hit rate on the season. But I'm, again, not necessarily the biggest fan of backing Liberatore totally today. So probably sticking away from that one. But if you guys want to do some more additional research, dig into that one, maybe you can find some angles for it. All right, guys, getting access to the Guy Boston Sports dashboard to help you with your research process is really simple. GuyBostonSports.com, it's the link down in the pinned comment as well. In the top right, you'll see the members area. Head over to the MLB dashboard. If you are logged in and already have a subscription and account, you'll see the dashboard popping up right here, right now. You can open it up, you can zoom in, you could print it if you're traveling. Really, really cool stuff, guys. But you get each and every game broken out in a visual format. This pulls and is fed in from a lot of different websites for players, for pitching, for team trends, for win-loss reports, and that type of stuff, guys. Bullpen data. So it's kind of a one-stop shop for you to start your research process. I use this each and every night and morning, and we decided last year to bring it to you guys. So yeah, if you are interested in kind of optimizing and making your research process a little bit more efficient, go ahead and check it out. Again, it's over on GuyBostonSports.com. If you do not have an account and you click on that, you will see this. It's going to say, hey, hold up, buddy, you need a membership, and here are the membership levels. We have 3 available right now. The All Sports Dashboard, meaning you get the NBA and the MLB, or you can go sports specific and pay monthly there as well. I would definitely recommend the All Sports Dashboard. We have a great NBA dashboard that has led so far, knock on wood, to a positive MLB season, NBA season for us as well. But both of these are really, really good, and obviously independently, less than a Starbucks cup of coffee for a month. So go ahead and check it out, guys. This is something that, again, I use myself and has a ton of data in here if you guys are interested. So go ahead, check it out, GuyBostonSports.com. Consider becoming a member today. Also, I'll put that link in the description so you guys can find it, but it'll also be right by the final plays in the pinned comment there if you do want to, kind of get there easily. Boston taking on Toronto. I have 2 player props that I want to start off with here. First off being Connor Wong under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. He's going up against Easton Lucas today, who is a lefty pitcher. So that kind of stinks because Connor Wong's numbers at least a year ago do jump against a lefty, which is a little worrisome. 280 average jumping to 311. His his WRC plus goes up to 144.8. But Lucas a little bit better here against right-handed bats, and we like to see that. But Connor Wong struggles against the fastball. We're going to get 54% of the pitches being a fastball today from Lucas. His third pitch being the slider at 20%. Connor Wong struggles mightily against that as well. So the only pitch that he looks like he's going to hit is going to be the cutter. And yeah, maybe he gets a hold of one of those, gets on base. And the way this Red Sox team has been going, if he gets on base, odds are he's going to come in and, score a run. So it's a little worrisome, but I still don't necessarily hate it. The next one's also a little worrisome because one swing of the bat, this guy can put this away, but I do like Anthony Santander here under 1.5 bases. So he's going up against Dick Fitz today, who is going to throw a lot of fastballs and a lot of sliders, and honestly, that's pretty much it. He'll go to the splitter like 10% of the time, but I wouldn't necessarily count that. Both of those pitchers, fastball and slider, are 2 pitches that Santander really does struggle with. My one concern, and it's a big concern, is that the one spot that Santander does hit fastballs well is where Fitz likes to throw it. The slider, not so much, but that fastball high and outside to lefty batters, a little worrisome there because that seems to be his hot spot, at least a year ago. So yeah, both of those player props under 1.5 bases for Santander, and then Wong under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs would be, where I would go player prop wise. Keep an eye on the final plays to see if we ultimately do end up rolling with either or both, though. Because again, now that we have week and a half or 10 days under our MLB belt here, we might start getting a little bit more creative in terms of having more on some of these games or plays, right? But Red Sox in this one coming off of a sweep, like I talked about with that St. Louis. They won 4 straight games, 13, 5, and 18 runs. They scored 23 runs yesterday in their doubleheaders combined. Toronto coming off of getting swept by the Mets, 0, 2, and 1 runs scored. Easton Lucas is not someone that I'm going to sit here and want to back, but I also don't necessarily love Dick Fitz, so I think this is a spot where I think, okay, Toronto's lineup is, I would say, better than what we saw, right? Overall in that series, a little bit better at least. They don't hit the slider well, which, like I mentioned, Dick Fitz is going to throw a ton of sliders, but they also have a decent amount of righties in their lineup, and that's who he's struggled against at least to start the season. So I think Toronto could squeeze out a few runs here. I'm going to lean towards Boston and the over because we know that this Boston lineup is going to hit, or at least we should at this point assume it until proven otherwise. Like, they have started to get hot. They can now hit lefties and righties, which is really, really good. I mean, they struggled against lefties last year, right? Now this season, they're batting .316 against lefties, 134 WRC plus, so top 5 in the league. They're striking out the 10th fewest times. Base on balls, 4th, 2nd in on-base percentage, 411, OPS 6th, slugging at 11. So they're doing pretty damn well, and like I mentioned, they hit the fastball well too. So it's going to be Red Sox or nothing in this one, or Red Sox or the over or nothing. I guess, or those player props. I shouldn't even say or nothing. We have a decent amount of looks in this game, you dummy. I will say, coming off of a doubleheader when you just smoked a team and all that, a little bit dicey thinking that they're going to just do it again, right? So I think that an over could be in play here because now all they have to do is get 4 runs, hope that, if we had the over, hope that Toronto can pull out 5 or vice versa. So maybe the over does take the lead in this, but I like those player props as well, but it's hard to, unless you see otherwise, hard to fade this Red Sox offense right now. Real quick, guys, before we do move on with the rest of the games, I want to talk to you about Sleeper. You guys know that I've been talking to you about Sleeper for a while now because it is one of, if not my favorite, DFS player prop app out there. Today, you can get a Cade Cunningham. It's a small NBA slate, right? But you can get a Cade Cunningham square for .5 points. You toss that in your lineup. You can put some MLB plays in there as well. You can go cross-sport, right? .5 points. It's going to help boost your payout there. But the best thing that they're offering is this play $5 as a new user. $5, you get $55 back right then and there. You can use code GUYBOSTON, or you can click the link down in the description as well as the pinned comment. What I love about Sleeper is all of the alternate lines they have in their payout structure. A lot of other apps out there just follow a fixed payout structure. Sleeper does not. Each and every play you throw into your slip will change the payout dynamically because that player has a multiplier attached to that more or less projection. So it's really, really cool, guys. Go ahead and check it out. I've been using it for years. One of, again, if not my favorite DFS player prop app out there. But let's go ahead and jump back into the rest of these MLB games. Next up, Washington taking on the Dodgers. Let's get right to it. Rip the Band-Aid off. Mackenzie Gore on the mound going up against Dustin May. This Washington team has a terrible bullpen, so keep that in mind as we go through this. But I am kind of leaning Washington and or Washington first 5 today. We know the Dodgers are a crazy good lineup, and I'm not trying to overreact to them losing 2 of 3 against Philadelphia. I think Philly is an incredible, like, they're legit, you know what I mean? We should know that. Like, Chris Sanchez against them yesterday, sure, they got off to an early lead and then had that game end 8-7. What I would say here in this one, though, one thing that maybe we could learn a little bit, I know they scored a lot of runs, but this Dodgers team isn't like spectacular against left-handed pitching, and just using our dashboard as a quick glimpse into it, you could see here batting just 188 this year against lefties, nothing looking all that great in terms of league ranking, and how about their bats? That is a hell of a lot of red. I mean, sure, Betts, Teoscar Hernandez, Will Smith kind of have some good numbers against lefty pitching there. You can make that case, right? Overall, but this is worth noting that this team, though I'm sure it'll fix itself, throughout the entire season, this team does not hit lefties all that well here to start the season. And Mackenzie Gore went up against Toronto, didn't exactly have the best start. Went up against Arizona, didn't exactly have the best start. So I understand if someone's kind of hesitant to this one, but he also doesn't have like terrible numbers against this Dodgers team. I wouldn't say that they're great, but enough that I'm looking at a line of, and again, this is a first 5 play, or I guess full game, but most likely a first 5. Enough of saying, okay, well, if we're going to get plus 135 in the first 5, that might be worth the roll of the dice. We sounded the psycho alert alarm, so I get that it's a little bit crazy, right? And the reason I wouldn't play full game is because this Washington team's bullpen is ranked 28th in ERA, 29th in WHIP, and then K to walk rate, 29th. So not all that great. Dodgers have a decent bullpen, so far to start the season. Though their guys could be a little taxed, I would take a taxed Dodgers bullpen at this point over a fully fresh Washington bullpen, and that's not even the case, but a fully fresh Washington bullpen. So yeah, it's crazy. I get it. There's a lot of ways that this Dodgers lineup could just go, boom, we're going to hit lefties. They're kind of in like a rut against lefties. I wouldn't say that fundamentally speaking, these guys will struggle against lefties all year, but to me, I don't want to pay a minus 180 price for the Dodgers, even in the first 5, minus 155. I sounded the cycle alert alarm. I get it's crazy. It's Washington first 5 or nothing for me in this one. Or peek at an under. We've seen some low-scoring Dodgers games. Like, we can't just sit here and always think that they're going to go out there and hit an over, right? They did against the Tigers, but then I want to say 2 of the 3 against the Braves, and then we saw 2 of the 3 against the Phillies. Like, if we have lefties on the mound, maybe the Dodgers do win. Maybe they do pull out big hits when they need to. But are we really going to get, 6 innings, 5 innings to start the game of smash mouth baseball, and then, then they put up a big number? Washington's bullpen can do anything. I get that in terms of letting runs in, but to me, this is a weird one. Maybe I'm the idiot in the room, but I like Washington first 5 as well as an under. No player props in this one, though. All right, Mets taking on Miami. This can be a quick one. I don't think that we're going to end up having anything actually rolling in this one, but we have Kodai Senga on the mound. In terms of who's pitching for the Marlins, I think we've seen a couple different names. Let me see if we have the confirmed one now. Looks like Belozo, Valenti Belozo, which last year we called him Valenti Bozo. So, yeah, I would say that advantage to Kodai Senga here, but obviously look at that number, right? Minus 250. Let's see if their first 5, we don't even have this up in front of us right now. Is their first 5 run line any better? Because if you're going starter for starter, ban for ban, I could see that. Yeah, minus 155 for them, minus 0.5 in the first 5. My one concern is, have you really seen this Mets lineup show us any form of consistency yet? No, right? And what did they lose? I think they won at least in this series against Miami a couple weeks back, or that second series of the season. That's the word I'm looking for. Geez. So yeah, I mean, this would be Mets minus 0.5, so minus a half run line in the first 5. Or nothing for me. Even that total down at 7's a little concerning. I think we do have some wind blowing in and a lot of rain. So, do we really want to account for or count on, I should say, some early runs for the Mets? Not so sure. Mets in the under. Or, what we could do now that I even say this out loud or kind of think about it, I said we're not going to spend too much time on it now the gears are turning. Maybe there's potential for a, Miami team total under. I don't think that they're really going to do all that great at touching Senga today. I mean, I don't think that he's going to be like a shut down, shove it type guy either, but I don't trust this offense right now. Next up, we have Kansas City taking on Minnesota. This one is kind of tough because I would have said that this, Kansas City lineup is far better than Minnesota's and whatnot, but we've definitely seen some inconsistency out of this Kansas City team. Now, they took 2 of 3 against Baltimore, and I give them a little bit of credit for that. Minnesota lost 2 of 3 against Houston, but their last 2 games, 6 and 7 runs. That means that they've scored 8-6, 2, 6, and 7 in their last 5 games. Now, again, Houston, Chicago, the White Sox, I don't necessarily want to give them and send them, throw them a whole parade for that type of stuff, but I don't think that we can deny that those are pretty good, runs for when this is an offense that I'm kind of iffy on in a sense, right? So I'm a little torn in this one. I think where we'd probably end up going is saying, okay, fundamentally speaking, I do think that Kansas City is the better offense. Simeon Wood-Richardson is on the mound, and he's going to throw a lot of fastballs, a lot of changeup, 2 pitches that Kansas City doesn't hit all that well, but like I said, I do expect Kansas City to turn this offense and make it a little bit more consistent. I shouldn't say turn it around, because it's not like they've been stinking, right? They've been scoring 4 runs per game, but they've been letting up, I think it's over 4 runs per game. But Minnesota's been letting up nearly 6 runs per game. So I'm going to lean Kansas City. They're at home in this spot, coming off of a nice series. I mean, they got routed in one game, but they routed Baltimore the game before. I like them on the money line today. Minnesota, I'm not all that big on unless Pablo's throwing. And I know a lot of people even feeling differently about Pablo Lopez. So, yeah, to me, this is it's a Kansas City spot. I think that, when you look at the bullpens and whatnot, you can start to make an argument for Minnesota a little bit. So maybe we could pivot to a Kansas City first 5. But I do think when I'm coming at this, actually, Minnesota's bullpen looks like it's absolutely nuked in terms of pitching. So, yeah, maybe Kansas City full game still is. But what I was going to say outside of that is that when I'm making this kind of prediction and lean in terms of relying on offense, maybe there is a spot in which I say just go full game, even if Minnesota's bullpen is good, but they are taxed. But even if they weren't, it's you need more innings to get that offense and more times through the line and whatnot. So, yeah, I'm going to lean towards Kansas City in this one, hoping that they can put up a decent number. Maybe we do kind of pivot and say, Kansas City team total over. And I know we've seen the comments recently when it's like, I watch Evan make his prediction and then he'll say pivot to team total over. Guys, I love team total overs and I love first five unders. Two of my favorite things to roll with when betting MLB. And for a couple of years now, it's been two of the more consistent categories. So you can't knock it if it's working, right? But team total over 3.5 for Kansas City could be in play today as well. Because that Minnesota team is so taxed. So, yeah, that's a way of backing Kansas City and hoping that this offense gets it going without having to, I guess, worry about Michael Lorenzen, who we haven't even really talked about, right? Pitching on the other side of Simeon Wood-Richardson. In terms of total, I guess that's probably what I would go towards as well, like looking at Kansas City team total over. Minnesota, I sure, if you want the full game over, I get it, but I don't really know what to make of those Minnesota bats. I still want to see some consistency out of them. All right, we got the Cubs taking on the Rangers. Justin Steele on the bump for the Cubs, going up against Nate Eovaldi for Texas. I think the first thing that I choose to look at here is a nerfy. Both these pitchers being really, really good. Two of the guys that I like to back. Justin Steele, not exactly, I mean, he's off to a mess start this season, right, overall, but Nate Eovaldi is a stud too, and he did pitch really well on the road in his last start, which was something of concern prior to, right? But he went 9 innings, 4 hits, 0 earned runs, 8 Ks, and no walks against Cincinnati. So give him a little bit of damn credit there, right? Justin Steele against the, who did he pitch? A bad team in his last start. Really didn't look all that tremendous, and he hasn't looked all that great to start the season. Now, that said, he went up against the Dodgers in Arizona as his first 2 starts, and then we got to find that. His last start, Athletics. He went 6 2/3, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 6 Ks, 1 walk, 2 home runs. So it's like a couple swings of the bat change things, right? So I expect this to be a nice game in which we could see some could see some performance, at least for, 3 outs apiece on either one of these pitchers. So yeah, I'm going to take a peek at the nerfy in this one. If you guys don't know what that is, it means no runs in the first inning. Your book may look at it as under 0.5 runs in the first inning as well, if you want to, if you do like the idea of that. But right now, I think it's like minus 160-ish, which is a little pricey, but that's over on FD, and it looks like elsewhere it's a little bit more. So yeah, that's going to be a play that we probably consider because I like both these guys just to start off hot. Will they continue throughout the game? Maybe, because Steele, who's been struggling, goes up against Texas here, who's not exactly the best offense, right? Even though their offense looked pretty good against Tampa Bay, we've still seen more rough offense from them than we have good offense. And then the Cubs offense is pretty damn legit, going up against who I would consider the pitcher that's having the better season. So maybe we do see, Eovaldi kind of mute the Chicago offense, and then Texas amplify Justin Steele's good pitching because of how rough their offense can be. And that totals down at 6, right? So I'm not going to mess with that. I would even stay to the under, right? Like, I don't think that I'm going to sit here and be like, oh, I like the over, because these two pitchers are absolute studs. Don't really want to get involved in that. If I had to pick a side here, it's probably the home team. I think that there's just a little bit more offensive pop in that Chicago lineup, and they are at home, which I think is going to do a little bit of something for them as well. So, yeah, I'm going to lean towards, I guess, Chicago as well as the under, maybe a first 5 under thrown in there as well. But if you're on Texas today and you're backing Eovaldi, I don't really see any reason for me to sit here and try and convince you otherwise, other than the fact that Eovaldi throws a fastball, Chicago hits it well, he throws a cutter, they hit it well, he throws a splitter, they hit it okay, and then his curve's going to be his next pitch. They're top 10 in runs above average this year against that. So I do think that this is a decent lineup overall. And then a couple other things to note, I guess, if you are liking Texas now, to flip things over. Justin Steele has kind of struggled against righties this year. There's a ton of righties in that damn Texas lineup. So I think there's only like 2 lefties. So yeah, keep that in mind if you like Texas. There's a little point in your feather in your cap as well. Arizona taking on Baltimore, and do we even need to go through this? Or do you guys know where I'm going with it? Now, Baltimore has been struggling. At some point, with baseball, it's a big thing of like positive regression, and when a team is struggling, they will progress. Like that happens in baseball, I would say, more than any other sport. Not so much football, because you have a week between, like a bounce back is 7 days later. Basketball, you don't play in a series. Like I think baseball is the big one where it's like, yeah, Baltimore has lost 4 of their last 5 games. They are 4-5 on this, 4-6, something like that on this season. Going up against Arizona. Arizona also lost 3 of their last 4. They lost that series against Washington. So if you're going to say Baltimore's going to bounce back, I think Arizona might as well. And we have Zach Gallen on the mound too, was a legacy call by me, right? We said Zach Gallen under 2.5 earned runs, right in the middle of that Yankees torpedo bat stuff. He went 6 2/3, 3 hits, 0 earned, 13 strikeouts. You know what? I'm due the cha-ching for that one because we got a lot of flack in the comments. But credit to a lot of people who, even when we posted the short on, YouTube Shorts, but then Instagram and whatnot, a lot of people were like, "You're absolutely crazy. This is the dumbest play of all time." A lot of those people came back and were like, "Hey, this didn't age well, like my comment, like credit to you, good call, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, wow, that's probably the first time ever that someone will say something and come back and apologize. I was like, hey, we got a good community here. But all that to say, I do think Zach Gallen could deal yet again today. Now, I think I look at Zach Gallen through rose-colored lenses, right? In our Futures episode, we talked about him. In the first show of the year, we talked about Zach Gallen. I think that this guy is going to have a year similar to what he did 2 years ago when he was filthy. I don't necessarily sit here and say that Zach Eflin, who's pitching for Baltimore today, is a bad pitcher whatsoever. Like, I don't think that by any means. So this is a case that if you're looking at Baltimore on the for plus money here, I don't necessarily want to knock it, but if Diamondbacks now back at home with their ace, one of their aces on the mound, coming off of 2 straight losses, kind of like the spot for them a little bit more at -125. Now, one thing that you could say, and not to say just pivot, but if you think Baltimore's going to score a lot of runs here, I don't see any reason why you can't make the same argument for Arizona. So maybe you can pivot just towards a full-on over or just a Diamondbacks team total over. This team obviously is a squad that is going to put up a decent amount of runs. And right now, over 3.5, you can get, I believe it's like -140 on ESPN. So that seems like it could be a good spot here. Last time they played Baltimore, which is last season, they scored 9 runs. The time before that, they scored 4. So this team obviously likes to score runs. We know that against Zach Eflin. So the guys on the squad, they don't have the best numbers, but you can make the same argument for Zach Gallen. So I bring that up because you're getting good prices for both teams to score runs today. And I do think that they will. Like, this could be a 5-4 game in which both pitchers pitched a good game, but runs just kind of slowly trickled in throughout the game. So yeah, I would say the over, not necessarily to say that these pitchers will do anything poorly, but I like the over because I'm trusting the bats today. But Arizona team total over would probably be my main look, as well as Diamondbacks on the money line. Clearly, I'm a little big on the D-backs today. I think that they kind of bounce back a little stronger than, I guess, what we saw, or what we're going to see from Baltimore. So yeah, hopefully that wasn't too confusing, but Zach Gallen's my man. Arizona money line or team total over. Houston taking on Seattle. So this is one where I kind of jumped to the nerfy right away. We have Logan Gilbert on the mound, Hayden Wesnecky on the mound for the Astros, which is a little bit, more scary, I guess. He's been not all that tremendous. I mean, he hasn't been bad. I'm not saying that, but Logan Gilbert, we know, is a stud. So we do have Logan Gilbert be able to go in there and just shut down for 3 outs, right? Hayden Wesnecky against a lineup in Seattle that isn't all that great probably is my thought process and reasoning and rationale there. So I do think a nerfy in this one could be a good move, but I'll tell you what, we've been looking pretty heavily at like Seattle nerfies this year, and I can't sit here and tell you with full confidence that they've been coming through for us. You know what I mean? Like, they've been kind of shot to these ones, and it's definitely a spot to constantly consider because the offense is bad, pitching's good. That means like half of your equation is solved. You know what I mean? But yeah, we've been having some real bad luck like yesterday with this. So just I guess keep that in mind that there is like blow up potential here, and they really, as a team that is good on one side of this, they really just haven't been great to the nerfy. I mean, they're going to be a good team all year to consider for it, so keep that in mind. But yeah, in all honesty, it's been kind of a spotty start here. But that's probably my main look in this one. I like Seattle through the first 5 if you can get a good price on that just because of the pitching matchup. And then probably a first 5 under as well. Seattle's offense is bad. Kind of the same thought process of the nerfy, right? Seattle's offense is bad. Hayden Wesnecky I don't really love, but against a bad offense, hopefully he can do his job. And I think Logan Gilbert should have should have a decent time here against this Astros roster. Obviously, division-wise and whatnot, played a ton of games against them. 164 in terms of plate appearances, 4.9% walk rate. That's great. 24% K rate. That's pretty good. Expected batting average against a 250. Real batting average against a 248. WOBA at 313. Expected WOBA 306. Slugging at 406. Expected slugging, excuse me. So I think that there could be some decent spots. Like none of those numbers are all that bad, right? And then 2 Astros players that I'm looking at from a player prop perspective. One that I do really like is going to be Yanier Diaz, which we just had yesterday, right? We've been taking the Diaz's here. I like his under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs today. And then Yordan Alvarez, I'm also looking at his under 1.5 bases. I think the only thing that stops this one would be, a fastball or a splitter or something like that just gets hung over the plate. But if Gilbert's slider is on, I think that we could see a really good opportunity to cash this one. So 2 player props in this one, hoping that, I guess neither one of these guys has a good game, or that the Astros don't just go off, because these guys would probably be 2 big contributing factors overall. But I'm hoping that, Logan Gilbert at least gets through 2, maybe we get lucky with 3 at-bats to these guys, and then, the Mariners bullpen can kind of keep it together, because their bullpen's been a little dicey to start the season, you know what I mean? So that could be of concern. But right now, Alvarez, I kind of like him to regress after last game. And then Yennier Diaz, we just cashed this one, hoping that we can kind of stick in the same lane and go out there and cash it again. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at in this game. There's a lot of potential plays in there. First 5 under could be in play. Nerfy could be in play. Make sure to keep an eye on the final plays. I do like this matchup. All right, San Francisco taking on Cincinnati. One spot that I would jump to right away here would be a look at the first 5 under. You have Hunter Green on the mound going up against Logan Webb. I kind of trust both of those guys at least 4 or 5 innings, and you can get the under 4, so it's kind of a flat number, right? Push potential there. Under 4 for -139. This thing is like -160 on MGM. This thing is like -160 elsewhere. Do I like it at -160? Honestly, not so much, but I do like the expected value there. So I think that that's going to be a play that we strongly consider today. In terms of, again, the starting pitching, Logan Webb, Hunter Green, I do like the matchup for both of these guys. Tons of sample size against the current guys on the roster. We'll start with Logan Webb. 107 plate appearances against. Average against of 240, WOBA of 280, strikeout rate of nearly 23, walk rate 6.5, expected WOBA of 314. Hunter Green has some really good numbers against this damn Chicago team, the San Francisco team. 69, nice. Plate appearances against a 42% K rate, average against of 143, same exact number with an expected batting average against of 143, WOBA of 237, and then a expected WOBA of 230. So I like both pitchers to come out here humming today. I will say the Cincinnati offense has looked absolutely terrible. They score 11 runs against Milwaukee, but surrounding that, 0-0, 0-2, and 2 in the other 5 games around that. San Francisco's offense, I'm starting to learn that this offense could be fairly legit, right? Like, I'm not trying to sit here and fade the offense, more so backing this offense, backing this pitching, and even using our dashboard. One big thing to note here would be, look at Hunter Green. If you don't know, you know, now you know. He does throw a ton of fastballs. That's what he's going to do, right? San Francisco, it's like the one pitch that they're struggling against this season, 24th in terms of runs above average there. So, yeah, I like the idea of both of these pitchers doing their thing. So, under 4 for first 5 is where I'd go. In terms of, I guess, where I'd go on a side, maybe it's a little bit crazy, but potentially looking at Cincinnati in the first 5, I don't think their offense is going to be this bad forever, and Hunter Green's numbers really, really something, right? And you can get plus 130 for them in the first 5 on the money line right now. So, yeah, there's push potential there. There's push potential with the first 5 under 4 as well. But, yeah, both of those could be spots, I'm not going to lie, that are of strong consideration for me today, because again, you're getting what I would consider really good value on the Reds, but maybe I'm overhyping the Reds in my brain. But you're also getting really good, push potential in the sense that if Hunter Green does his job and it's tied after the first 5, then get our money back, right? And then the same thing for the under. If both these guys do well and it's 2-2 after the first 5, okay, it pushes at 4, not all that terrible. Jaime Candelario was also a player prop that we looked at, but I think I'd prefer everything else we talked about in this game, especially as with the value that we're seeing. That was under 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, by the way. I don't think I said that, or maybe I did. All right, last game of the video here. We have the A's taking on the Padres. Michael King on the mound for the Padres, stud. For whatever reason, still underrated. Severino on the mound for the A's. In my opinion, overrated. That being said, we can give him some credit. I mean, that first start of the year against Seattle looked pretty damn good, but then he got shelled against the Cubs. But again, giving him some credit, that's a really good offense. Michael King, not the best start against Atlanta to start the season, but then he went 5 innings pitched, 11 Ks, 1 walk, 0 earned against Cleveland. I would say that this is a spot for San Diego. The bullpen is better. than this Athletics bullpen. Athletics are fully rested in the pen, though, so I think that is obviously something to keep in mind, whereas San Diego, a couple of these guys are a little taxed, but overall, I think that San Diego has the better offense, has the better pitcher, and has the better bullpen today. So, yeah, I like the Padres on the money line. It's a little fishy of a price, if we're being honest, you know what I mean? But they just lost the series against the Cubs, and the A's coming off winning the series against Colorado, and they were in Colorado. Now they go to not Oakland, they go to Sacramento. But yeah, I mean, the price is a little fishy because, again, I think that this should be a spot where the Padres are like -160, and they're not. So it's, again, concerning, but not enough for me to kind of be afraid of it. So Padres on the money line is probably going to be a final play today. In terms of a total, maybe an A's team total under. I like the bullpen, and I like the Michael King look today as well. In terms of how he's pitched against them in the past, very, very small sample size, 22 plate appearances against, but get this, 55% K rate, expected batting average against of 120, an expected WOBA against of 166, and an expected slugging against of 140. Good luck, A's. So give me their team total under in terms of what we have from player prop look as well. And then I believe we had an under in a player prop as in terms of a total look. I believe we had an under in a player prop look, but can't seem to find it here. Let's see. Was this it? No, I don't think that was it. Okay, if we find the player prop that we had, I think we had an under in this game, but maybe I'm misspeaking now. It'll obviously be in the final plays, and because we didn't talk about it in the video, I'll add a little blurb as to why we like it and that type of thing. But guys, it's going to wrap it up for today's show. Thanks for spending about 40 minutes with me today. Really do appreciate it. You guys are the best. Catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.